We are live. Episode number 97 of the Shant and Ari podcast. We are getting very close to episode 100.
Yeah, we got to plan something for that.
Yeah, I'm going to get a cake for us and we could cut it both at the same time. You can get your own cake. I'll get my own cake. Well, it's interesting. We'll see exactly what you chose, what I chose.
Okay.
See if we chose the same thing. Actually, let's do it right now. Cake flavors. Go with something that's sort of common. On 3, 2, 1. Red velvet.
You know me, bro. Come on. You know what I'm going to say.
Did you know what I was going to say?
No, I had no clue.
Okay.
Your mom, when I used to visit you guys, your mom would make me chocolate chip cookies. Remember that?
Bro, she would make you anything you wanted, man.
But like,
She would make you chocolate chip cookies and she would make me chicken cutlets. Just
well, literally, I'd be, because when you guys lived in Boston, well, you guys still live in Boston, but when we were in Jersey or New York and I used to come visit, your mom would have homemade chocolate chip cookies made for me, just ready to go.
Did your mom used to make you chocolate chip cookies or just strictly pre-cooked, pre-made?
Sometimes she would make it. Sometimes.
Did you like it better when it was cooked, when it was baked, or packaged?
Probably baked is better. Yeah.
I don't know. Some people just genuinely prefer boxed cookies. Like they prefer Oreos as opposed to chocolate chip cookies. I come across people like this all the time.
You know, funny story, and probably would lead into kind of, you could maybe tie it into our topic today, but so when me and Betty were first dating, she knew I love chocolate chip cookies, right? So she has not made me chocolate chip. We've been together for how long? I don't even know, like over 10 years. She's only made me chocolate chip cookies once. And
how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm kind of responsible for that. So, because, she used to live in Maryland, right? And I used to live in Jersey. She would come up, I would go down, visit her, when we were dating. So she knew I love chocolate chip cookies. So she thought, okay, I'm going to surprise him. She was coming up to Jersey to visit. She took the bus. So she baked chocolate chip cookies. She had the container. She carried it on the bus with her. She didn't want to put it in the bag. She comes, she's like, hey, I surprised you. I made you chocolate chip cookies. I'm like, oh, perfect. Oh, like found wifey, right? Like this is,
I hit the jackpot.
Yeah. I taste it. I like threw it up.
What? Why? What was so bad about it?
It was like the worst thing I've ever tasted, bro.
What the fuck did she put in it?
I don't know. And I was just like, and it kind of like caught her off guard. Like she thought it was like a nice moment, like she did something nice. And I was like, oh God, like, what is this?
Fucking terrible.
I was like, don't make me chocolate chip cookies ever again. And she hasn't. Like, that's it. It was over.
Did you guys get to the bottom of it? Why it tasted so, but what was in this batch of chocolate?
No, I'm gonna, because we talked about this actually the other day. That's why it popped in my mind. And she's like, should I make you cook? I was like, no, stop. Don't. She's like, all right, it was 10 years ago. Relax. Like, get over it.
No.
I'm like, it's okay. I'd rather get it store made, have high cholesterol, have a heart attack than.
Please stay the fuck away from the cookies.
She's made in the meantime, like she's made muffins. She makes really good muffins. Like she's baked stuff, like.
I mean, you don't trust her for a second with your cookies.
No, she cooks great food. Just the cookies, man. It's not there, man.
Yeah, trust is once trust is lost. Trust is lost.
Yeah, so we've had to work through that in our relationship.
It's been a major roadblock in your relationship. Sean fucking loves cookies. Dude.
Imagine if I almost broke up with her because of that.
You did this on purpose? All right, I can't. All right, anyway, How was your weekend? Do anything fun? Sort of
No,
curious.
no.
No? You guys been sleeping?
So so yes and no. So the baby sleeps in her room. We already kicked her out. She's in her room already. And that's like a big you know, controversy within parents. Like some parents wait till like 6 months, a year to not a year, but like 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. And what happens is, like, in my opinion, if you leave the kid in your room for so long, they get used to it. When you transition them, they get scared, right? So then they always want to come to your room and sleep. Her 2 weeks, her ass was in her room. She still doesn't know the difference, whether it's her room thing. So that's what we did with Leo, and he never once like wanted to be in our room because he just woke up, and he's always been in his room since he can remember. So Betty takes over the night shift, right? And she feeds her at night, but she gets up once to feed at night. And then in the morning, I get up around like 5:30 now, and then I'll feed her and take care of the morning. So it's a
Very
zoo in
nice.
the morning. It's a zoo, like, because it's me like against Leo and Zila. And it's
You don't stand a chance, big guy.
Leo's like today was playing with the oven, right? Like just like playing with the oven, trying to turn it on. She's like spit up on me, and I'm just like, help.
What did I get myself into, man?
And I'm like, I don't want to go wake her up. I'm like, I feel bad. She's like, I had to wake up middle of the night. I'm like, all right, either baby's gonna keep crying or Leo's gonna put the house on fire. So I was like, which one's a little?
You'll get your ass over here right now.
Like kick him, like get your ass away from.
Rip him. He's crying, but Betty's door's closed, so you're good.
Yeah. She gets up. Hi, how's the morning? I was good. No problem.
Why does Leo have a bruise?
Yeah.
Must have hit something when he was sleeping. So yeah,
What did you do? I saw you. Yeah.
very good weekend. Had a really relaxing weekend. Had a bunch of spent a bunch of time outside. Went walking a couple times. Got a pretty decent tan. I don't know if you can tell from this right now, but
There's sun in Boston now. Some sun.
yeah. There's not raining anymore.
Oh, quick question.
Yeah.
Before it's gonna tie in. So the Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals. So Game 7 was on Sunday, and I have a question for you. Okay. A, did you watch it? B, did you kind of watch it, see what was like, knew about it but kind of forgot? Or C, have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about the Boston Celtics?
So had I not hosted my friends for kebab on Sunday, I would have had no idea that there was a sporting match happening. Just anything. I don't know if it's the Celtics or the Pacers or the Broncos. I have no idea. So they came over for kebab on Sunday, and I have two signature phrases that I've put together for anytime they did good or they did bad. And I'll do variations like my tone of voice will go up or it'll go down, or I'll go like, ugh. I'll say either giving away the game or taking back the game whenever they do something good or bad, and that's it.
Well, they're definitely giving away the game at the end.
I said it like 4 times at the end. And everyone's like,
how pissed were your friends while you're saying that?
A couple of them laughed, but the other two was like, shut the fuck up.
Because I know you, man. Like, yeah, it'd be great if they won, but you could care less. Like, you're just like, you're going to go on your day.
Yeah, I was doing the dishes for the first 2 quarters. I was just getting everything sort of cleaned up. Like, we made it kind of a mess. So I just cleaned up everything. 3rd quarter, I was eating fruit and ice cream. 4th quarter, it got very interesting. So that's when I started to watch. Really good game, though, man. Really good. That series was really, really. I hope the actual finals is as interesting as that one, because we had a pretty decent week watching that. My mom and dad went to a graduation party. Dad got COVID.
Oh, wow. Is he okay?
He was in bad shape. I feel like you already know sort of where this conversation is headed. He was in bad shape, still showed up to work. I let him know that
Like a couple
technically
minutes
we
late,
should
not even a couple minutes late. Like, oh, sorry guys. Just-
have COVID. But basically, we told him it's pretty much against CDC guidelines to show up to work. Government saying don't do it, so please go home. Which he did, but he was having a very, very hard time doing it. And one of the topics of conversation that came up was, do you ever recall me not coming to work? And I remember we had a conversation about
yeah,
this, about him never missing work. And he
yeah,
finally brought it up. He goes, besides my surgery, that I just literally I couldn't come in.
yeah.
Do you remember me not coming into work? And I responded back not with a yes or a no, but by saying that that should not be a point of pride for anybody. I don't know. I don't know what kind of question this is, but I just want to start off by saying this is not. I hope you're not bragging right now, because weird brag, you know. But then we were talking about, hey, what's our podcast topic going to be
Yeah.
tonight? And I just needed to discuss some of the most toxic, just garbage things that we insist, or not just we, but a lot of Armenian guys will insist on carrying traditions of
How a man
not
should
letting
be, I
go.
guess. Like how a man should be, like how a man should be. Okay.
Yeah, their definition of what is okay and what is a must for Armenian men. And when I say they, I mean like 85% of Armenian men. I know that there are some outliers. But yeah, this probably represents about 85%.
Do you consider yourself an outlier?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm part of the 85%.
But I feel like you were more, you were in it. Like now you're dipping your toe in the outlier. I think you're.
Oh, so some of the stuff that I'll mention, I like obviously I'm aware of it being toxic, so I'm trying to address it.
You're flirting with being an outlier. You're like,
Yes. They say there's a saying, it's old habits die hard.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be another top 5 kind of night. And I'm positive that we'll have some things that we're going to be sharing. Maybe we can discuss why it's so severe that both of us are sharing something. But anyway, do you want to start this off, or should I?
No, you go, because I didn't make my list. So I'm just going to kind of, as you go, I'm going to, because I don't know where you were taking this, right? Because you kind of just texted the topic. You know,
Gotcha.
I liked it. Didn't know we were doing top 5. So didn't do my homework on this one, but I think
it's okay. It's not really a big deal, I don't think. So yeah. First one, maybe we can talk a little bit about if you share the trait or share the quality, or if you don't, or if you know somebody that does have this quality, what it's like to know them.
Question, before you start your top 5, how many of them do you think I attribute, like I have that quality? I'm just curious.
Probably 2.
Okay. All right. Go on. Go ahead with your.
All right. So number 1, having too much pride that you're not able to set aside when it's called for.
Explain.
Okay. So sometimes there will be situations where Armenian guys will have taken offense to something, or not be able to listen to somebody else that they think doesn't know more than them, or they think that they're smarter than them, and they end up missing out on a learning opportunity because they think they know it all.
It's a big one.
So other situations, having too much pride and not being able to set it aside. Maybe there was a time at a dinner party where somebody may have said something, rubbed you the wrong way, made a joke, and you took it as like extreme disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you never want to go to that friend's house again with that person there.
Yeah.
You know?
So in Armenia, that's probably one of the biggest like things amongst the men that I've noticed just hanging around Armenia. Like I've gotten almost stabbed a couple of times, me and your brother, because we just looked at someone and it was like World War III was going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
you insulted them.
Yeah, we literally had someone pull out their cell phone and call people to come fight us because I accidentally bumped into the guy. And I was like, oh, sorry. And he got offended. And then your brother got offended that he got offended.
So, same. Yeah, same.
And I'm just sitting there like, dude, this guy's calling his friends. Like, let's get out of here.
Taco starts calling his friends. He doesn't even have any friends there. He's just calling somebody. Calling my dad. Bob, you won't believe the fucking... So it's just a pride thing. There's too much pride.
Yeah.
There's too much unnecessary macho pride with us.
I agree.
I'm not saying that I'm innocent of it. I've definitely found myself in situations where, you know, somebody, somebody was definitely, somebody definitely rubbed me the wrong way, or, made me feel a certain way, made me feel lower than them for whatever reason. Yeah. And
I think I've had that quality, not as extreme as most Armenians, but I've had it, but I've kind of started to let go of that, I think, a little bit. But yeah, I definitely have experienced that too, a little bit.
So, I guess we can segue into the next topic. Yeah. The next point is on this whole pride thing, not reaching out for help. And this is kind of a big one.
Mm.
This is where it gets kind of serious. And if I can sort of preface this by saying that I've had major problems with this one. It's not even just reaching out for help with like a math problem. And this is for like Armenian guys that generally have been raised to think that they should be manly men, not talk about their issues, and generally fall apart later on in their life. A lot of Armenian guys will not commit suicide, but they'll drown themselves in alcohol, domestic abuse, just basically carrying out all their anger on the rest of the world, as opposed to inflicting it onto themselves. So I know I got pretty deep pretty quickly.
It's a solid point, though, man. It's a solid point, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is kind of a big one. This is the most, I think, toxic of all, is Armenian guys not being able to reach out for help, saying that they need help with something, with directions, a fucking flat tire, a mental health issue. Help quitting smoking, saying that they're an alcoholic. Just say you need help with something, you know?
So I see it so much. I don't think I've dealt with that, because I think from a young age, I was like conditioned to, like, if I needed something, I had to like go to my brother a lot. Right. So I think it just conditioned me to like always go for help, right? Ask for help, which kind of hindered me in other ways. But so like when I think we were 16, I was 16, 17, and I saw like the housing bubble, right? It was like, I didn't know bubbles yet, but I knew our house was worth so much money in Jersey, and I wanted to move to California. And my parents kind of did too. We were like, I just really wanted to move to California. I was like, think I was 17, 18. And I was like, hey, we should sell the house now. It's like great time. Like, this is it. Like, sell it. Let's cash out and go to California. My dad's like, oh, what am I going to do there? I was like, okay, you have your brother, you have his sons. We have so much family there. Let's ask around to see what you could do there, right? It's not like he had a huge career in New York, right? And he's like, no, I'm not going to ask. I'm like, okay. He's like, it just, so I'm like, you rather stop our dream of moving to California because you don't want to ask your brother for like, hey, you know, you want to ask, yeah, like ask if there's a job opening somewhere.
Why do you think we're like this?
I don't know, man. It was so weird to me. I was like, do you want me to hit someone up? Like, I have a few contacts in California. He's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's not for us right now. It's not our time. I'm like, okay.
Too much, eh? Okay, when? Terrible.
I don't know where it comes from, man. I don't know if the fucking villages that they were raised in, because I think it's trickled down to generations, right? I think it's a sense of like, if you ask, that means you're weak because you need help.
Let's expand on this a little bit. So you're saying that we're not asking for help because it makes us look weak?
Yeah.
Do you think that this affects the greater majority of Armenian guys, or smaller majority? Do you think it hits like 70%, 80%, 90%? Because I think that we may be doing it for another reason, for a little bit different reason.
What's your reason?
I think that a lot of the times when we did cry and ask for something, we were told to shut up. Like, Signet Gadre, or like, not now, or no. I think that we're too worried about getting rejected for the help.
Yeah. You're right, because we do experience. So it's funny because there's other cultures that have similar, right, experiences. So I think the African community culture too, the men, and this is just an observation, I am not African American, and I don't want to speak on their behalf, but from what I've noticed, I grew up with, you know, in that culture, around it, not in it, around it. And what I realize is guys wouldn't ask for help because, so in our culture, it's more, we are told to shut up. In their culture, they get, from what I've noticed, they'll get made fun of.
For not knowing, for being ignorant?
That, or just made fun of. Like, it's a very, you know, comedic, you know, just, I've noticed that. Just like, oh, you're stupid, or, you know, what is that? Why are you asking? You know, like, so I think it just intimidates. That's just something I've noticed. I think every culture has their reason, because I think this is happens in a lot of cultures, obviously, within men, and every culture has the different reasons. So it's just my observation from what I've noticed. I could be wrong. If I am, please, I'd love for someone to share or hop on the podcast and just talk about other cultures. Because we, you know, I grew up around a lot of cultures. You love that shit, man. You see other people every day, different people. It's just, we're all similar but different.
Third little tidbit about why this could be such a problem, like what's causing it, is again the point of pride thing. I guess it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to a lot of Armenian guys to reach out for the help because it makes them again seem like they don't have their shit together. You know, Marchen.
Like, you could be bankruptcy, this, that, foreclosure, need a little help. You could probably use $1,000, but you're scared to ask for it because you're gonna.
Yeah, a friend of mine. No need to name names.
No.
They asked me for $100, and they're Armenian. And I looked at them without any judgment, And the first thing that came to my mind is everything okay?
Yeah.
You know, like, why are you asking me for $100? Like, ask me for 5 or 1,000. Why
Yeah. Yeah.
100? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's almost to the point where we see them ask for such little help that when they do ask for help, we expect it to be for something massive.
Yeah.
Like something so little as $100 is alarming. What do you mean $100? People ask me for like 10 grand. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? I'm like, what $100? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Are you pissed broke? What's happening?
Yeah, like what's the 100 going to do? Like, is that going to just be a band-aid? Is it,
You're
because
gonna come back next week and ask me for another 100? Or what's the deal? Like, or is this gonna every day?
uh, there's Armenians that would rather go broke than ask someone for help.
I would rather go broke.
Wow.
That's my toxic thing. Is I would rather go broke than ask people for money. So that
Next
brings
one.
me to the
Yeah.
next toxic point. Doing whatever it takes to compete and fill in that same position that everybody else is in. Just being the same as everybody else, buying the same thing as everybody else, even if you may not actually be able to afford it.
It's like keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes. And this starts off at the very lowest level for us is the school that we attend as little kids, the elementary school. Some Armenians send their kids to elementary school not being able to afford it and not even wanting to ask for financial aid from the Armenian school. That's how much pride they have. So they'll bust their ass, not even being able to make ends meet, sending their kids to the same Armenian school as their friends and not even asking for financial aid to send them to that school because of pride. So both toxic traits.
Yeah, it's pretty bad in the Armenian community with the keeping up with the Joneses, and it starts with like the Louis Gucci, um, Ferragamo belt. It's a must. It's just, if you're Armenian, you just got to have one, right? It's I don't know if it's worse on the East Coast or West Coast, because it is different. It is different.
I think it's very competitive on the West Coast. I think that it's almost there's a minimum requirement on the West Coast, but then there's different tiers. There's different levels to the Armenian wealth indicators.
Okay.
So, like, depending on, do you live in LA? Do you live in the Valley? Do you live in Glendale, or do you live in Orange County? And at that point, it starts to like the wealth curve. So, like, if you're going to compete, you got minimum thresholds that you got to hit. Like, if you're in Hollywood, like, you're buying the fake shit. If you're in Glendale, you're probably buying the real shit. If you're in Orange County, you're probably buying the newest real shit. So it gets very, very competitive very fast. But more so in Boston, it's funny because the richest Armenians will not even be like that. It's usually the median. Like, you could be making between $100,000 and $500,000 a year, and you'll still be driving the same Mercedes as your competitor. Same BMW, same Mercedes. The $150,000 a year guy is like killing himself to live in the same area that the $500,000 guy is living in. And it's almost like you could tell tell that this guy is just doing whatever he can to compete with his boy.
Why do we? So that's why I read that book, and I've read it three times already, Millionaire Next Door, and it talks exactly about this, right? And why is it so bad in the Armenian community, though? Because I think it's a national, it's a U.S. problem, but it's so bad with the Armenian community. Like it is. Oh man, you roll up to an Armenian church, and like, okay, so we went to church on Easter, okay, and it was packed. I've never seen it that packed. Like it was, couldn't even get in. There's no parking spots. There was the G-Wagons, there was the Benzes, I was like, all right, we got some LA Armenians here.
Any California plates?
Yep. We're like, yep, they're here. They made it.
Love it.
So why is it so bad? Why do we love nice things so much?
And it's the competition too. Like, why do we feel the need to get the same shit as somebody else? If they're already it's not even so much a one-upping thing.
Yeah.
It's like I need to be doing the same thing as them. You know? I don't know. I have no idea why we take it so seriously. But I know that we also take another thing very, very seriously. I'll sort of address that as, how many have I mentioned so far? 4?
4. So this will be the last one.
Yeah. So I'll hit this one after. It's actually very, very interlinked with this one. I want to talk a little bit about the competition thing too, coming from somebody that actively competes and sees others competing, doing fancy shit and whatnot. A lot of cliques start very, very young with us. Mm-hmm. And I've had friends that I've had since 1 years old or 2 years old, and we grew up together, and we started off by buying the same Gigapet.
Yeah.
We would buy somebody would buy a yo-yo. I would need to buy that yo-yo.
Nextel, you guys all got the same Nextel.
Somebody got a cell phone. I need to get a cell phone. Why? Because he has it. I now need to have it. Now, more so, we start to come to a place where we personally are not enough. Whether it be, okay, I got my degree in, I got my degree as a engineer, but he got his degree as a doctor. Now I'm no longer enough. I'm not as good as him. So I got to be doing shit to at least get up to their level, because I no longer can compete with him, because it's not as simple as me going out and buying whatever it is that he bought. Yeah. Having my parents buy it. The North Face jacket, whatever it is. Yeah. You can't do that shit with a degree. So now you got to compensate. And that's where the Armenian, I think, in the majority, because our community is so tight-knit, we have people that we're comparing to directly, as opposed to the Americans. They're not competing directly. They might be competing with somebody next door to them, but that's somebody next door to them. We're talking about people, they make wildly different salaries. And
because it's so tight-knit, the families, the cousins, the sisters, the family members.
And because he's my friend,
yeah,
but we both make different amounts of money, in order for us to continue to stay friends, I have to make sure that I'm continually on his same level. So I don't have to feel inferior.
Well, I think it starts from the parents, right? Because they're like, Adi, did you hear your friend got their master's?
Yeah, you feel like a scumbag. You feel like a lowlife. Like, yeah, here I am with my fucking shitty high school bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I used to hear that growing up all the time. Like my parents would be like, oh, Hagop, he's going to college, he's going to study this. What about, and I'm like, okay.
Has $250,000 in debt.
I'd be like, it's good for him, man. I'm happy for Hagop. Not for, but we hear that so much from our parents and stuff. And so you're just like comparing yourself to that person. You're like, oh my God, this person is this. I feel like shit because I didn't get a degree. Because when you meet an Armenian girlfriend and you meet the parents, it's what do you do? Where'd you go to school? What did you study? Right?
Are you good enough?
Yeah, your resume has to be filled out legit, right? But I'm here to tell you guys, it doesn't. I didn't graduate college. I attended a year and a half of community college with stellar C's and D's.
Did a good job.
Yeah. A couple of incompletes, right?
Oh, you got the INCs, huh?
Yeah, couple. Didn't have a career, still landed a really, really nice Armenian girl. So there's hope.
So there's a primitive component to this last one. It's been dating back since we've first evolved as human beings. And a lot of people, a lot of human beings, most normal human beings have this instinctual fear of being shunned from their circle, from their circle of friends, from their community. This isn't something that's fake. This is a real thing. This is an instinctual thing that you must do whatever it takes to not get shunned from your community. So if you must conform or you must please the alpha of your group, then you got to do what you got to do. You got to follow the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got people like Gary Vee that'll say, fuck what people think. Fuck your parents.
Yeah.
Fuck this and this. This is very, very hard for a normal human being to do. But this is impossible for an Armenian person to do. Because you're going to be known as that piece of shit that disrespected his parents and didn't give a fuck what the Agum thought of him, right?
Yeah, and then
complete disrespect.
You're shunned from the Agum. Like,
out. Jovi Mikar. You're out.
Can you explain what an Agum is for the non-Armenians?
So the Agum is your center, your meeting location for particular Armenian group. For various Armenian groups, you'll have different centers that belong to those groups. So say, for instance, Group A will have Center or Agum A, and Group B will have Center B called Agum B.
And by the way, if you're a part of Center A, can't fuck with Center B. Like, just
different communities. Yeah. You'll be ostracized from both.
So weird, if I may say. It's like my dad, my parents, you've experienced this, like, oh no, that's a different church. I'm like, it's Armenian church. It's the same. No. They're different. Like, they're not, but okay.
Toxic. So, with this, with talking about the community and, there's a bunch of different components to that, and a bunch of different things will get you into trouble. What would you say, Shant, are some forms of disrespect to the community? So, what are some things that will get you in trouble within your community? What will get you ostracized, if you will, from your circle, specifically for Armenians?
Center, like
Yeah.
um, not dating an Armenian.
Mm.
That'll get you real quick.
Do you think that if you were to convert religions, that would kind of?
It's it's the initial like, oh, what's going on there? Like, there's not enough, and they take it as like offensive. There's not enough Armenian girls. Like, what's going on here? It's they're not good enough for you.
Do you think? Do you think that that's worse? Depending on what kind of girl you end up getting, like if you got, let's say, like if you got, I don't know, a Lebanese girl, it's somewhat acceptable. But if you got, like, let's say, a Chinese girl, it'd be like 10 times worse.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Lebanese, I could be like, all right, like you could pull it off. You could kind of skate your way through there, right? Like, oh no, she just doesn't understand Armenian. She just forgot Armenian. Just don't even.
Her grandma's Armenian.
Yeah, you could always just throw like their grandma's Armenian, because there is probably a mix somewhere, right? I think religion is probably the biggest thing. Like, what is their religion?
Do you think them being gay or lesbian will get them ostracized from the community?
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's a big one for Armenians.
yeah. I haven't seen many, so I think I haven't seen that like reaction, because I think people hide it probably in the community.
I think that it's become, depending on how long the Armenian community has been around, how modernized that Armenian community is. I think that that's become more and more acceptable, but not openly accepted. Just not, well, we're going to ostracize you.
Yeah, I haven't been in one of those in a long time. So I was in Jersey, so I'm just going off of that. I'm sure some groups have been modernized, and
I feel like LA is definitely way more open to it than, let's say, for instance,
Jersey.
Boston or Jersey.
Yeah.
But then come to find out that I think that there's a gay Armenian community in Armenia, and there's one in France.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
You would
it's
think it'd be
starting to
ostracized in
become.
Armenia. You would think it would be ostracized in Armenia, because it's just the old school mentality.
I mean, it is. It's on the same. You know what it is? It's on the same level of hate here. I think that there's certain outliers, people that are part of the LGBTQ community and people that are part of that, like, crazy anti-gay,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So you have these, I think that you have these in every country, but in Armenia, it's way more extreme,
Mm.
to the point where the crimes they turn a blind eye to because of it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What are some other things that'll get you ostracized from our prestigious community?
Um, Maybe not ostracized, but you'll get some dropping out of college. And like they'll talk shit, right? Like there'll be some people talking shit. They'll be like, how they do that to their parents.
Ah, boucher, asige. Yeah. خیلاتی چر. You couldn't handle it.
I don't know what is one that sticks out to you.
Um, it's starting to become more acceptable, but um getting a divorce.
Oh yeah, that was used to be a big one. Yeah,
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 it's become way more acceptable now. But I feel like back in the day, if you were to get a divorce, you're pretty much like it's over, bro. You know?
yeah. That was not a thing back in like it was not. Now, yeah, it's more common, and I think people have accepted it more.
Uh, it's very interesting. A lot of thought goes into pleasing the community,
Yep.
doing what you can to not only just compete, but just to maintain your standing in your circle. We're not even talking about going and getting ahead in your circle. Nobody's talking about that. Just maintaining status in the
Yeah.
circle. So I think that there's definitely some work that
Yeah.
needs to.
Some rooms for improvement, but I think talking about it and just being better, man. Like it's okay that you don't wear a Gucci belt. It's fine.
Don't you feel like we've definitely made some progress though in terms of what is deemed acceptable and what is unacceptable? I think like between like from now and like 20 years ago, I think that there's
Oh yeah,
definitely been.
it's been a huge shift because 20 years ago the main influence was people who migrated here. They came from the old country, right? So it's like the values and what they're surrounded by was different. Now, we've grown up here. We were born you weren't born here, but you were raised here. So you've seen more things. You've seen divorce. You've seen, gays and lesbians. So it's like, it's okay, right? It's not a big, so other people it's starting to shift a little bit to being a little bit more normal as far as a community of like, hey, yeah, let's not ostracize someone over something so stupid.
Yeah, I feel like the Armenians, at least my group of friends, um, some of that you could see. It's very interesting to notice. Like one half is one way and another half is one way. Almost they'll clash over um, opinions. One will move to ostracize somebody. The other one will move to sort of tell them this is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then you'll have somebody that is actively competing or comparing themselves to somebody else, but indirectly. They'll talk about their achievements. They'll talk about how easy it was for them, or they got handed something, and you could tell it's coming from a place of envy.
Yeah.
Almost like you know where their mind's at, and then you turn around and tell them like, "Bro, why do you give a fuck?" Like you guys are not. Why are you comparing yourself to them?
Yeah. You're not fighting each other. That's okay.
Yeah, there's so many other richer people than them. Why are you worrying about this one Armenian dude at the fucking at basketball? You
Yeah.
know?
That's how it was, man. But it's getting better. Hopefully, the new generation, it keeps getting better and better. Um, I have seen Armenia. I've noticed just little things like it's being more modernized and a little bit more westernized, and just you know they're
The
waking
beauty
up.
of Halib is that there's no fucking money for anybody. So everybody's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
don't worry about it. But the problem with LA and Boston is
People got money.
people got money. So you constantly have to be competing or comparing. And this is just how the world works. I wish it didn't, but this is how it is. You base your worth at just primitively. This is how it is. You base your
Yeah,
worth relative to the other people in your circle. And it sucks. It sucks that we have such a competitive fucking circle, man. Armenians are fucking
I
competitive.
know it's bad, but hopefully they just start seeing things out. I think integrating with other cultures makes a huge difference. That's I
For
think
the
what helped.
Lebanese culture. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Because yeah,
They
but
make us worse.
yeah, it's just like for me, I grew up around a lot of other cultures, a lot of different people, and I think it centered me a little bit more. It helped me out to not go deep dive into like how a lot of the toxic things from our community. I've taken a lot of the great things from our community, which we do have a lot of great things, I believe. But I think just being around other cultures has really helped me just growing up. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I would tell anyone is diversify your group.
That's huge. Yeah. That's huge. If you could have, especially having friends from poverty, understanding, where how their mindset is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love having both ends of the spectrum. And I
Because like,
guess
yeah, because you know, I had, like one of my best friends, two of my best friends. One, he was half Jamaican, half Haitian. Jamaicans and Haitians do not get along. It's like it's a thing.
I
And
didn't
he's
know that.
half and half. And he's like, I'd go to the family events, like you could just feel it, right? Like my other friend, he's half Puerto Rican, half Chinese, right? I'd be at their house, family events. Chinese side would be like one way, Puerto Rican side would be. It was just so cool to see just how different they all act, and just seeing that, man, it's just great.
Yeah, you definitely come from a very you personally, you come from a very diverse childhood. Growing up in New York City, and the friends that you had.
It's basketball is what really helped it, because basketball is a very diverse sport, right? So I played basketball not just in the Armenian community but outside, and that just my friends became like whoever was my basketball friends just became my best friends. So I think that's what really helped, and so sports was a huge thing that kind of got.
Didn't the New Milford High School retire your number?
No, no, I wasn't that good, man.
Just kidding, Shant.
Yeah,
So yeah, all right.
that's all I got. You got to run.
All right. Tell Leo I miss him. Tell him
I
not to
will.
fucking burn the house down this week.
Yep. All right,
Night
everyone.
shot.
Good night, everyone.